Hello, hello. Hi, friends. Come on in. Welcome to Office Hours. Happy Friday, everybody. I am very, very happy that it's Friday. Another week is down. This was a busy week, y'all. This was a busy week in my life. This was a busy week in all the cases that we're following. My goodness. This was a big discovery week this week in the Adelson case. So I wanted to just go through and kind of look at some of the documents that I know some other creators, all the OGs and everything, they've already gone through it, but why not? I haven't gone through them thoroughly. I've just been really busy. So I just wanted to go through them and thought, I'd uh I'd invite you guys to come along for the ride. So first of all, let me say hey to some of the first people in here. I see Riverdale Pilates. Riverdale, you were in here real early. I don't know if I messed up with setting the timing up or what, but listen, this is my second live stream. I'm just happy that this appears to be working right now. So thanks for being here. Trish, Norman, hey, thank you for liking the live already. I appreciate that. Don't forget, you guys, to like the stream. Maybe the YouTubes will send it out to more people. I don't know. I think this is a lunch hour for some of the current cases that are being watched today. So maybe some more people will come on in during those court lunch hours and join us for this set of office hours. Helen S. Friday. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Let's see. T. Cancella. Hello, hello. Thank you, Helen. I appreciate that. I just put the hair up in a big bun and just went with it. Hi, Cheryl B. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Yank Canuck. Is that how you say that? Yank Canuck? Thank you. I appreciate that. Riverdale Pilates. Yes, you're in New York. That was my stomping ground for a little while. Oh, you're not a dog anymore. You mean your profile picture? I never thought that you were a dog, but it's nice to see your face on here, assuming that's your face. All right, so let's look at some of the filings that were dropped this week in the Donna Adelson trial case and see what they're about. Oh, Yank Canuck, yes. I got the Yank part as sort of like a Yankee and then a Canuck, Canada. Gotcha. All right, so let me share my screen. And first of all, I don't want to keep you guys for too long, so I'm hoping to keep this to maybe an hour or so. And I'm not going to go through all of the filings because, look, some of them are just boring. And I want to get to some of the juicy ones. You know me. I'm nosy. I want to see the juice. I want to see the tea. So let's first look at this one, which is the motion to, let's see, Donna Adelson's motion to hold the trial in the smaller courtroom. Let's see if I can make that bigger for you guys. Is that any better? All right. Okay, so let's see. Ms. Adelson's upcoming trial is scheduled to proceed not in this court's regularly assigned courtroom, but in courtroom 3G, which, as the larger of the two, can accommodate more members of the public in its gallery. All right, Rosh, you're right about that. The decision to use 3G was, we imagine, a response to the public's demonstrated interest in the case, in keeping with the Florida Supreme Court's position that the public should generally have unrestricted access to all judicial proceedings. That's a Miami Herald case from 82. As the Supreme Court has made clear, the public's right to access is not absolute, but must yield in order, quote, to protect a defendant in a criminal prosecution from inherently prejudicial influences which threaten the fairness of his trial and the abrogation of his constitutional rights. Where a defendant's right to a fair trial conflicts with the public's right of access, it is the right of access which must yield. My first question about this, I'm just wondering about how much bigger is the larger courtroom? Does anybody know? I'm just wondering, like the seating capacity of the two courtrooms compared to each other. Just something out of curiosity. I mean, are we talking like 20 extra seats, 50 extra seats, 100 extra seats? I'm just wondering, like, why is this becoming an issue if we're going to be arguing over, 15 or 20 extra seats? But let's keep going. Unfortunately, as we learned during Charlie Adelson's trial, in highly publicized cases like this one, the more observers there are in the gallery on any given day, the greater the risk to a defendant's constitutional rights. Okay, I'm not sure where he's going with this, but in Mr. Adelson's case, for example, someone in the gallery took a photograph of a note passed between Mr. Adelson and his counsel on the second day of jury selection and proceeded to post that note on social media. While the substance of the note was unrelated to Mr. Adelson's case, the reporting in the media speculated about the note and its importance. Okay, so what does that have to do with his constitutional rights? Moreover, the fact that it was photographed and released for public consumption forced defense counsel to modify how and when they communicated with Mr. Adelson for the duration of his trial. Now, I did see a post. I think Judy posted that this is factually incorrect, that it was not somebody in the courtroom who took a photograph. It was not somebody in the gallery who took a photograph of a note. It was somebody on a stream, on the public stream, who took a photograph and blew it up, enhanced it somehow. I don't know what they're talking about because I never heard of any note that was shared between Charlie and Rashbaum. I never heard about that. So I'm not sure why it was such a big deal, but according to what I think Judy, AA Legal Focus, said in a post that I read of hers, this is factually incorrect. Moving on, even more significantly, later on in the proceedings, during the cross-examination of an important government witness, one of the jurors stood up in the middle of the examination and signaled to the court to stop the proceedings. Really? One of the jurors. After the court spoke with the juror, we came to learn that individuals in the gallery were making facial and hand gestures towards the jury in an effort to convey opinions of the testimony, which were distracting at least the one juror who complained of the incident. Actions like this may clearly affect the juror's ability to independently assess the testimony and thereby affect a defendant's right to a fair and impartial trial. I also never heard about this. I think I would have remembered, but I don't remember hearing about that. But let's see. How would moving to a smaller courtroom prevent either of those things? I don't see how it would prevent either of those things. In a smaller courtroom, there would still be members of the public in there. They could still gesticulate or whatnot. I don't think moving to a smaller courtroom would prevent, people from having facial expressions or hand gestures. I think the way to prevent that is the court saying something at the time or even before, not moving to a smaller courtroom. And the first point of theirs, the note, the photograph of a note, I also don't see how moving to a smaller courtroom would help that. If in fact what Judy said is true, that it was somebody who took a still shot of the video, the live feed, then how's that going to be prevented by going to a smaller gallery? That just doesn't even make sense. Let me continue here. Where did we end off? 7. And at several points, the proceedings were interrupted when members of the public, contrary to this court's clear admonition, attempted surreptitiously to record the proceedings and failed to silence their cell phones, which could also occur in a smaller gallery. In a case with tremendous attention and strong opinions that is covered virtually every single day in all sorts of social media and other media outlets, there's a risk of a larger live audience, creating a sort of mob mentality in regard to reactions to testimony. Talk about blowing this out of proportion. Mob mentality? Who are we, Adelson trial justice for Dan supporters? Are we Karen Reed people now? I don't think so. I don't think we're even close to that. By limiting the size of the audience, this court limits the probability of emotional outbursts and reactions in the gallery. Simply put, a larger gallery audience elicits larger responses to the testimony and thereby a larger chance of influencing the jury. All these types of incidents described above, should they occur during Mrs. Adelson's trial, will threaten her ability to secure a fair trial and risk a mistrial, which no one wants. While Your Honor certainly does his best, the easiest way to mitigate these risks is to reduce the number of in-person courtroom observers, which this court can readily achieve by ordering that trial be held in courtroom 3B. Forget Florida's constitutional right to have open access to court proceedings such as this. This flies in the face of all the constitutional protections of doing things openly and in the light, not in smaller surroundings. We don't want decisions being made to a limited number of individuals. To be clear, we are not asking this court to prohibit the public's access to Mrs. Adelson's trial or to not respect or adhere to the public's right to have access to the judicial proceeding. Well, actually, you are. You are asking the court to prohibit the public's right to have access to the judicial proceeding. Indeed, members of the public will still be able to attend trial just as they would in courtroom 3G. The courtroom will still have live camera feeds, so for anyone unable to attend in person, if passed as prologue, Mrs. Adelson's trial will be televised live on a national network. And as you are aware, many of your trials are routinely held in courtroom 3B, and none of those cases violate the Florida Sunshine Laws of the public's right to access. So basically, he's telling Judge Everett that you're unable to control your courtroom. How is this possible? How is this a thing, y'all? You're Judge Everett, you're okay, but you could be better. Listen, this is how you can control your courtroom, as if you're unable to control it just by, making admonitions to the gallery. This is unbelievable. On a separate note, courtroom 3G, as it is currently configured, also creates logistical issues for defense counsel that do not exist in courtroom 3B. Is it logistical issues just for you, this particular defense counsel, or all the defense counsel who's ever tried a case in 3G? So what are the logistical issues? Among other things, it is virtually impossible for a defendant or her counsel to see all of the jurors while seated at counsel table. Further, the lectern's placement immediately to the right of the state makes it difficult for defense counsel to use the Elmo or other electronic devices during examinations, and makes it difficult for counsel to see all the jurors while the examination is occurring. Sorry, the Elmo part made me laugh because I had gotten my son one of those laughing Elmo dolls, and it was a hoot. Moreover, the gallery is in direct view of the jurors while examinations are occurring, which can cause attempted influences from the public, which should not be allowed in the trial. All of these concerns are not as prevalent in courtroom 3B. So I don't know if he's asking for, an interior designer or a renovation to occur in the larger courtroom, But apparently, I don't know if anybody else has filed a motion such as this, but he's unable to move the lectern. He's unable to um, move the defense counsel table so that they're able to see the jurors, I guess, while seated at counsel's table. Maybe you just need a booster seat. I don't know. Is that possible? If you could get like a booster seat, like you sit up. I'm being mean. Sorry. No, but has anybody ever complained of this before? Valid question, right? Look, I don't really see this going anywhere. But they had to try, right? They had to try. Limit the number of people who are coming into the courtroom. I'm sure if he thought that it was just going to be a bunch of Donna Adelson lovers and people who think, that she is not guilty, she didn't do anything wrong, I'm sure a motion such as this would not be filed by the defense counsel. But I think they're feeling the pressure. They understand the public sentiment, and they want to limit the public sentiment that's possibly going to be in the gallery. Look, it is what it is. So let me see. Is there anything else in here? We know that your honor has and will do the best to ensure decorum in your courtroom, but there's only so much that you can do. Oh my goodness. Wow. Judge Everett, there's only so much that you can do. You simply don't have the power to control your courtroom. You simply don't have the authority and respect of the public at large who's going to be in your courtroom to handle them. You can't do it, Judge Everett. This is how you need to do it. We're simply asking this court, in the exercise of its inherent authority, to control the conduct of the proceedings before it, to protect the one person whose rights are paramount and whose life is on the line here, and convene Mrs. Adelson's trial in courtroom 3B. Now, I have not seen a a response to this motion filed by the state yet. And I don't know if we will see a written response. We may not. It may just be something that we hear an oral argument on the 12th, I think it is. I think that's the day of the next pretrial hearing. Wow. The gall to make this motion. I don't know. I don't feel like I'd be able to show my face. Let's see what you guys are saying about this. Hi, New York Patriot Lady. Hello. Mentor Lawyer just released a video. About what? I don't know. Mentor Lawyer showed last night. It's tiny. Oh, is this the note, possibly? The note that was being shown? I think smaller seats, about 15. If the smaller courtroom seats only 15 members of the public, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Wow. Trust Adelson's even with a motorized tongue. Yankinuk says it was a note from a female attorney told Charlie to do not smile. Obviously, he didn't listen to that, did he? He had a hard time. He had a hard time keeping a poker face. And it was entertaining to watch, I have to say. It was definitely entertaining to watch, especially during Wendy's testimony when it appeared that he was hearing some things for the very first time. Like when he was hearing about her book, her non-autobiography, and he just couldn't believe the coincidences. What, Helen? I don't know. All it takes is one nutty juror at Charlie's trial. The nutty juror ended up as an alternate. Gotcha. Okay. Donna has finally found like-minded women. Who? Rash couldn't see past the lectern. Apparently he couldn't. He's unable to see. I don't know. Maybe we need I don't know, a bumper or something. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you have a child and they ask, do you need a booster? I don't know. How many Donna Adelson lovers are there? 3? Possibly, Lou. I don't know. I'm going to say Harvey is 1. Who else? I'm not sure. Yes, I agree. It is very condescending to Judge Everett. Yeah, I agree, Mr. C. Hi, hello. Welcome. Welcome to Office Hours. Pittsburgh in the house. Hi, Jen Still. He might need to stand on a box at the lectern. I don't know. I just, obviously, this is not the first case. This is not the first trial to occur in that larger courtroom. And, has it been a problem for anybody else in the past? That's my question. Like, how realistic are these issues at all? And can they be ameliorated any other way? I think so. All right, let's move on to the next motion that I want to look at. And that is, that's this one. Donna's motion to preclude evidence of her travel as consciousness of guilt. This, of course, is talking about the fact that she left, or she was getting ready to. She had one foot in the airplane door, basically, in the airplane, on her way to Vietnam, which is a non-extradition country, which basically means that they don't have a treaty in place with this country, our country, to bring people back for prosecutions. Some countries, people can flee to, and if there is an extradition treaty, the U.S. will say to that country, hey, this person committed a crime over here. We need to prosecute them. Please bring them back or send them back. Vietnam does not have that agreement with the U.S. So we know that she was looking for countries with no extradition treaties, and she found one in Vietnam, and she was on her way to Vietnam when she was arrested. And this occurred a week after Charlie Adelson's conviction. So Donna Adelson respectfully moves this court for an order. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. For an order foreclosing the state from arguing that her attempted travel to Vietnam after her son's conviction, and nearly a decade after she was first named as a suspect and an unindicted co-conspirator, constitutes consciousness of guilt. So this is all the background information. The death of Dan Markel. Let's see. They say that in April 2016, the state organized The Bump, which made it clear to her that she was a major target of the state's investigation. It became even clearer after the arrests of others over the many years and the release to the public of the state's theory of the case, which put Donna at the center of the state's conspiracy theory. During that time, these past 10 years, Miss Adelson traveled all over the world, including to countries without extradition, and always returned. What's the difference here, folks? I see it right here in paragraph 1, and always returned. She had a one-way ticket. This was a one-way ticket to Vietnam. Was she traveling one way in all those other instances where she was traveling the world in the past 10 years? I don't think so. Moving on. It was not until after Charlie Adelson's conviction in November 2023 did the state arrest her upon boarding a flight to Dubai with its ultimate destination, Vietnam. Because of the time and manner of the travel, as described below, this evidence should not be permitted as evidence of consciousness of guilt. Oh, we're going to get into some precedential case law here. Where there's little evidence, little physical evidence linking a defendant to a crime, as is in this case, this type of flight evidence needs to be looked at more carefully because a jury is more likely to place more weight on it. In fact, Florida appellate courts have ordered new trials after finding that flight should have been excluded under such a 403 analysis. I think 403 analysis is a federal rule, so I'm not sure why they're talking about that here. I could be wrong, though. Most courts look to a 4-part test to determine whether to exclude flight evidence. Okay. Generally, the analysis for flight evidence frames the 4-part test in this way. Circumstantial evidence suggests consciousness of guilt, usually invites 4 inferences. First, the observed behavior suggests flight. Second, flight suggests a guilty mind or conscience, which may mean nothing more than a desire to avoid detection, rather than any feeling of remorse or sense of wrongdoing. That's what they're going to argue here. Donna wasn't feeling remorseful. She wasn't leaving because she thought she had done anything wrong. Oh no, not her. Third, consciousness of guilt suggests that the person is conscious of his involvement in the charged crime, as opposed to some other fact. Fourth and finally, consciousness of guilt for the charged crime suggests actual guilt of the charged crime. Each inference depends on its own general premise or evidential hypothesis. However, this chain of inferences breaks when a defendant can provide an alternative explanation for the flight, other than consciousness of guilt. In other words, evidence of flight is inadmissible when there are independent reasons for flight, as those independent reasons tend to break the second and third links of the chain. So here we are. We have Rash saying that there are independent reasons that she was getting on this flight to the non-extradition country. So you may ask yourselves, what are those reasons? Well, let's see if they include them here. Because if you have a motion, you need to support your motion with facts. So let's see what those facts are. First of all, they're going to give us facts from a completely different case, which is not this case. So I'm not interested in seeing that. I want to see what facts they have. All right, here we go. Here, the evidence is clear, even in jail calls that the state marked as evidence that Donna Adelson was not fleeing and was not leaving because she had a guilty conscience about being involved in the murder of Professor Markell. She did not hide her travel. She applied for a visa with the State Department. She spoke about her travel openly with friends, but not with her children. A ticket was booked in her name, not an alias. You think she has an alias? Y'all, you think she has fake IDs? Does Donna Adelson have fake IDs in another name? You know, kind of like Lily, Wendy. Does she have that? I don't know. I've never heard of that. So if she doesn't have that, then she has to travel in her own name. And she used her own passport because she doesn't have another passport. Indeed, her travel was open and notorious. Moreover, and possibly more significantly, if Donna Adelson was fleeing because of a guilty conscience, she would have fled nearly a decade ago when it was clear that she was a main target and suspect, but not If she was delusional, not if she thought that she could not be touched. Why leave? Why leave if you believe that you're being protected, if you think that you can't be touched? And the longer it went, the more confidence it gave them that they would not be touched. Am I wrong? I mean, come on. Let's see. She would have fled during the trials of Catherine when the state made it clear that Donna Adelson was a centerpiece of its case. She would have left when Charles Adelson was arrested in April 2022. The fact that she stayed here, traveled abroad, and always returned on a two-way flight weighs against any finding that her trip in November 2023, years after the murder and years after Charles Adelson's indictment, stemmed from a guilty conscience and not some other innocent reason. Okay, but I'm still looking for what is the alternate reason? You know, what is this independent reason for her flight? Because it hasn't been presented yet. Okay, we're still looking for that. Scroll. Oh, that's it. That's it, y'all. Finally, because the evidence against Mrs. Adelson at her trial is solely circumstantial, this flight evidence should be excluded. This has nothing to do with whether it should be excluded, the evidence against her being circumstantial. There is a real fear that the jury will overvalue the flight evidence and convict based on this flight evidence alone, which would be improper and grounds for reversal. As such, we ask that it be excluded. Footnote 1, we have conferred with the state, who opposes this motion. Duh. Wow. Okay, so they say, in other words, evidence of flight is inadmissible when there are independent reasons for flight, as those independent reasons tend to break the second and third links of the chain. Yet, nowhere in this motion do they provide one independent reason for the flight to Vietnam. Go figure. Go figure. I think they have an uphill battle with this motion as well. Thoughts? Let's see what you guys are saying. Hi, Debbie Jarvis, another Canadian following the Markel murder trials in its entirety. Just waiting patiently for Wendy's turn. We all are. Welcome. Right. Yeah, Riverdale Pilates. I think Charlie, didn't even look at his own indictment. He just looked at his story. What a mistake. What a mistake. Like, who would be indicted and not even read it? Aren't you curious? Aren't you nosy? Or is it just me? Yes, Mr. C. Oh my goodness. That movie is hilarious. Dumb and Dumber. You saw a line, would you like to go out with me? So there is still a chance. I think that's basically what they're saying. They are throwing these motions at the wall and hoping that something sticks. So they have a positive, they have some momentum in this trial. I really think that that's the way that they're going. They filed another motion as well. I think it's the motion to exclude wiretaps, I think, was one of them. And it was the same motion, part and parcel, of something that they filed in Charlie Adelson's trial as well, which was denied. But they're trying again. See if it sticks this time. Maybe Judge Everett has forgotten the last time. I think they're underestimating the judge, the honorable judge. I think that's a mistake. And I think they're really They're really showing themselves. Like, understandably, I understand they are trying to be a zealous advocate for their client, and I appreciate that. Um, I appreciate their representation. I am not like some of these other creators who, are just completely demonizing defense counsel. I understand they have a job to do. Everybody is, um, everybody needs their representation. You're afforded representation. It's a constitutional right. And you should be represented, and you should be represented well. So I don't fault them for that. But in a motion such as this one that we're looking at, where you're trying to preclude evidence, and you yourself state in that motion that the evidence should be precluded if there are independent reasons for flight, and then you don't list any of those reasons, that's unconscionable. That's unconscionable. And I doubt it was just an oversight. There's plenty of time. Um, there's plenty of time to have figured it out and gotten their facts together. I don't understand. I don't understand why he wouldn't have put in one fact, thrown it in. I mean, you're throwing everything else against the wall, so why not include, an iota of the evidence that's going to get you the result that you want? I don't know. His puzzle pieces were the biggest joke. If he brings back those puzzle pieces, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Puzzle pieces. Puzzle pieces. T. Kinsella says, Cheapstate couldn't even go for round trip just to look more like a vacation, right? The Adelsons are so wild, out of touch with reality big time. I can't understand why they wouldn't do that. Why? What makes them think that booking a one-way flight is not suspicious? I don't know. I don't know. It's very strange. But then again, I'm not a criminal and an alleged criminal. So I can't think the way that they do. When I was young, I loved doing puzzles. I like doing puzzles now, Helen. That's something that I recently introduced to my son. He's only 4, so I recently started introducing puzzles to him. So he and I will sit down and we'll just do puzzles like every afternoon. It's so cute. He gets really excited when he finds the right puzzle pieces. I really respect Charlie Adelson, huh, Riverdale Pilates. This is like his interview that he did with the folks at STS. I really respect him. I really love Donna Adelson. She's like a second mother. Come on now. I don't think representation needs to go that far. I personally don't believe that that is necessary to represent a client. And what does it get you? What does it bring you? I don't know. I think it shows the jury more about you than it does of a party, the person that you're representing. Lou, fake IDs seem right up Charlie's alley. You know what? He probably knew some people on the other side of the railroad tracks who could probably get him some fake IDs, but I haven't heard the first thing about any fake IDs in this case. Um, and, obviously, Donna couldn't ask Charlie for his links to get fake IDs for herself, because then that would raise the question, well, hey, mom, why do you need fake IDs? Oh, Charlie, I'm just trying to, leave the country. I mean, that wasn't going to work, right? So, of course, she had to travel on her own legitimate documents. How else is she going to travel? I mean, I guess she could have I don't know. It would take more planning, I think. She could have gotten on a boat. She could have chartered a boat, leaving out of South Florida, um, and had the boat bring her to some island country and then move from there. But she's, I don't know. She could have driven to another state, possibly, and then left from there. I don't know. I don't know. Look, I'm not a criminal, so I can't think these things are allegedly. Suddenly, Donna is a loyal citizen again when she feels her rights are being violated while behind bars. Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Mr. C. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. $10 super sticker. Susan Hicks, I can totally see Judge Everett shaking his head and rolling his eyes, but only to himself so that it's not seen on, any televised uh, videos that he's rolling his eyes. I mean, I know I would be rolling my eyes if I'm being presented with an attorney who is saying, you're good, but not that good. So this is what you need to do to be great. Unbelievable. All right. Bye, T. Cancella. Have a great weekend as well. Hmm. So unprofessional. We have yet to see what John Laurel is going to do. Riverdale Pilates. I mean, no, I know he's quick with the motions. Let me see. What did he do? In Katie's trials, I believe he was representing Wendy at the time still, to not have her show up for depositions. Um, I think he was behind all that. So we haven't really seen him do too much. We know that they are there, that he is there. And we'll see him in Tallahassee. I'm assuming. I'm assuming that we will see him in Tallahassee. I'm assuming that we will also see Wendy in Tallahassee and that she will still be represented by John Lauro. Lou, no, she's not. Donna's traveling under the name Georgia Kappelman. Hey, Top Cat, you made it. Welcome. Welcome to Office Hours. Please have a seat. Don't forget to like this stream, guys. Jibs and jabs. Good question. Can a person change his or her name if they have been named a co-conspirator? Listen, I don't know. We do know that Wendy has said, one day I'll change all of our names, talking about herself and her two sons. You can see that in one of my videos. Can't remember which one, but one of my videos talking about Wendy's testimony. I think it was the changing names, changing the son's name video. Um, Listen, it's a court procedure that you have to do. And as part of that court procedure, I'm not sure what all is entailed. If you have to make certain, if you have to swear to certain things or what, but listen, these people they're not going to get lost. The state's not losing them. The state is keeping track of the Adelsons and possibly more than the state, possibly the feds as well. So I don't think that they can simply change their name and run away and get away. Tattletales. Shots. Innocent people don't need John Lauro. He helped Trump. Mr. C's asking, is Charlie's Fort Lauderdale house up for sale? It is not. It is not yet. Um, the Tortuga's house, which was sold in, I can't remember what month it was, but it was sold earlier this month. Um, that's done and dusted. But the other house on Whale Harbor is not up for sale. I can't tell if it's vacant or not. Um, I should have a video shortly showing some real estate owned by the enterprise of the Adelsons. And by that I mean the Adelsons, their companies, their trust, um, with some a little bit of a show and tell. I'll just say that a little bit of a show and tell is coming up in the next, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. I just got to get around to editing it. But no, the Whale Harbor house is not up for sale as of right now. And it doesn't look like it's up for rent either. So I don't know what's going on with it. Do you? Now, have you heard anything, Riverdale Pilates? She says, I think John Luro, or he, I'm sorry, I think John Luro is working on a plea deal for Wendy behind the scenes to let Wendy plead to a lesser plea. Now, if true, that would be very interesting. I'm wondering, do you know something? Do you know something that nobody else knows? If you do, dish. We're here for the tea. I wouldn't be surprised though if I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. I'll just say that. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. We sure have seen her without her mask. It slipped. It has slipped multiple times already. Tattletales says Wendy's punishment will be the fact that everyone knows we've seen her without her mask, same as OJ. But the thing is, there are a lot of people who have no idea who she is. There is a large segment of the public that has no idea about this case. They don't know who she is. And if it's true that she is in fact leaving the state, going to a whole different state, there's probably fewer people in Texas who knows who she is. So, I mean, she probably just slapped that mask back on herself and is continuing with her day to day, just trusting and hoping. Like she'll always probably have to look behind her back and hope that nobody really figures out who she is or who she is behind the mask. Top Cat, isn't Donna saying we might make it out on the hot mic call? Hardly a holiday trip. Yeah, I think she said that. I think she said that Rashbaum told her that because she was in consultation with Rashbaum about this trip. And I, if memory serves me correctly, he said something, or at least she said that he said something to the effect of, you might make it. So there's always that. And that was not mentioned at all in this motion, which I think is notable as well. You know, it wasn't mentioned at all that, like Rashbaum said in that interview with STS, that she hasn't been charged with anything. She was not under any indictment. So she was free to leave the country. None of that is in the motion. Is that strange, y'all? Don't you think that's strange? Riverdale Pilates says, wow, I wish they would move Bree and Roman to that Will Harbor house. I don't know where Bree and Roman are, but I don't think that they're there. I think I had heard or read somewhere that they were in another state, possibly, but I'm not sure. Mari James, hello, is asking if Katie or Charlie tells all, could they still get a deal or is it too late? Now, both Katie and Charlie have both been convicted of the crimes. So I don't know what kind of deal that they would get. All that they could possibly hope for is maybe some better circumstances where they are. Um, you know, maybe they get moved to, maybe they'd want to get moved to a different facility or better accommodations at the facility where they are or some sort of benefit, but they have been convicted and nothing's going to change that at this point, whether they talk or not. Mr. C, a lot of security cameras and signs, Whale Harbor, when I went in March. You've been there? I have too. And they do have a lot of signs, security camera signs. I have my doubts that it's actually anything. I really don't think that it is anything, but that's just um, my personal opinion. I don't think that there's anything to it. There's just signs. I mean, anybody can buy some signs off of Amazon or Etsy or I don't know, probably Walmart or wherever. Um, yeah, anybody can put up security signs. This property is being monitored by security camera, whatever. I don't know how much it means, and I have my doubts as to if it means anything at all. I think it's probably just up. And I don't know when they went up. I can't remember if the very first time that I drove by Will Harbor, if those same signs were up. I can't remember. Um, maybe I'll go back and check. I think I have some old video footage of that and see if those signs were there. But it's probably just to stop looky loos. Okay. Hmm. Mr. C says, when I was in South Florida, people did not know of it. Yeah, I mean, there's so many cases down here, to be perfectly honest with you. There are so many crazy cases. This is just one of many crazy cases. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people didn't know of this case. I'm really not, especially since the actual killing did not occur in South Florida. That's probably another reason why everything happened. Well, those critical things happened up north in Tallahassee. I'm not surprised that a lot of people don't know about it. I mean, I'm wondering if, and I haven't seen a motion to change venue. I haven't seen that, and I'm kind of wondering why. I would think that defense would want that, you know, with how highly they think of Tallahassee and the residents of Tallahassee, which is really a shame. Um, you would think that they would have, tried to move the venue to somewhere else, but I haven't seen that, and I don't think I've heard anybody else talk about that either. Telltale says the family wouldn't do that for Charlie's kid. They would for Wendy's kids. Charlie had to get taken to court to pay child support. They wouldn't do what? Let them live at Whale Harbor, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard in wiretap calls. I haven't heard Donna talking as much about Roman. I think his name is um, the same way she's talked about Wendy's two sons. So I don't know what that relationship is like, but yes, I do know that um, Charlie was taken to court for child support, which doesn't really bode well for that relationship. But I don't know. I do remember that, Riverdale. Was asking, do you remember when Wendy said in her podcast essay that Dan said everyone thought she was a good, nice person, but he knew who she really was? I do remember that. Yeah, she said it herself. Um, yeah, he saw through the mask. He's seen her without the mask, so he knew. I don't think that she liked him knowing. I don't think she liked the fact that he knew who she was behind that mask. It didn't bode well for him. Oh, this case has reached England, huh? People in England know who the Adelsons are. And even in England, Wendy is not liked. Oh, Roger W. is saying Bree and Roman are in North Carolina. Okay. All right. So they got out of Dodge. I wonder because weren't they living in Will Harbor? I wonder um, if they got kicked out. Telltale says the spouse usually sees the real person. Dan probably wanted full custody. Too bad he couldn't read Wendy and her family. Dan actually was fighting for 50-50 custody. Um, he wanted equal rights to the kids. And we see that in his motions during the divorce proceedings and the custody proceedings that happened after the divorce. He wanted 50-50. Wendy was asking for a larger percentage, and uh, that wasn't given to her. Wendy just wanted to bring the kids to South Florida, and that wasn't given to her either. Hi, Maya. How are you? Thanks for joining. Welcome to Office Hours. Susan, Susan Hicks, are you in Tallahassee? Susan says, I know a lot of people in Tallahassee who know very little about this case. I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of transient people in Tallahassee, I believe, because it's a college town. There are two, probably three. Well, there's FSU and there's FAMU, and I think there's Tallahassee Community College or something, possibly. So there are people coming into Tallahassee from around the world, around the state, around the country, people who have never heard about this case. And this case, doesn't really mean anything to them. Tallahassee is also the seat of Florida government. So our state capital is in Tallahassee. So you have a lot of politicians and lobbyists and a lot of agency headquarters in Tallahassee. And that's also an influx of non locals coming into Tallahassee. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people there don't really know that much about the case. And the fact that it's 10 years old. It's such an old case. In that time, a lot of people have come and gone. So that I'm not surprised to hear that at all. Mr. C. Yes, I have. It was like Area 51. It's an interesting neighborhood. That's definitely an interesting neighborhood. There are multi-million dollar properties next to properties more like Charlie's, which was, kind of decrepit and not very modern, not kept up very well. So it's definitely an interesting area. I don't think I'd want to live there, but you know, if you have a nice house, I guess you can live there. And it's actually just one street over from the Tortugas house, which I did the the tour, the walkthrough video of. And that house is much nicer. Granted, it's been modernized a little bit, not to our standards, us, but there definitely is a difference in aesthetic between the two properties. Yes, Maya, I'm excited for this trial as well. Maya, are you around Tallahassee or do you plan on going to the trial at all? I'm curious to hear. Actually, I'm curious to hear if any of you guys plan on going to Tallahassee for this trial because I do. And I think it would be awesome to have some kind of meetup or something, you know? Thank you, Maui Swift. Appreciate that. Lou, many believe it's unlikely, though not out of the question, that Charlie would ever flip on his. Where is the bottom? On his what? Oh, here you go. Here's the other comment. Unlikely that Charlie would ever flip on Donna. It's not entirely out of the question, and it could sink Wendy, but what do you think? Charlie flipping on Donna. I don't think it would happen. I don't, at this moment, at this juncture, I don't think I see that happening. I think he's going to continue with that extortion, terrible story that nobody believed, but somehow he's just going to have to continue with that. And he's going to have to say that based on my belief that we were being extorted, I told my mom and she acted accordingly. I don't know. I don't think I see him putting any more blame on Donna than that. We need to find out what he's going to say about Wendy, though. That's what we need to know. Okay, good. If I run, Misha, and I'm a she. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I don't want to presume, these days. I'm a psychotherapist with a Pilates studio. Oh, psychotherapist. Okay. All right, Riverdale Pilates. Thanks for joining. Um, ooh, a psychotherapist. You might be interesting to have an interview with or something. I don't know. I'll keep that in mind. People don't read the news. Tattletale says. Helen S. No, you didn't miss the end yet. I'm about to log off pretty soon, though. Especially young people. This is actually more popular. Yeah, I think so, Maya. She said that to come off as a victim. Yeah. Woe is me. Poor me. My husband thought that I was a monster. Well, if you were, I mean, I don't know, allegedly. Hi, Marcus. Hello, hello, hello. I love the emojis that you always put on my stuff. Appreciate that. The Whale Harbor house, maybe there's barbed wire in the back. I don't know. I haven't seen the backyard. It butts up. Does it butt up to a canal? I don't think it butts up to a canal. Or does it? I think it might butt up to a canal. Um, Certainly, there's no barbed wire in the front of the house. Pythagorean runner. Ooh, how old were you when you went to law school? Did you go right out of undergrad? Would you recommend somebody going at 28 who's been working as a CPA for 6 years? Hmm. I was I was 21. Yeah, I was still 21 on the very first day of law school. Um, so yeah, I did go right out of undergrad. Do I regret that? Maybe. I probably should have taken some time off in between. Um, but yeah, I went right after undergrad. Would I recommend somebody going when they're 28 years old, working as a CPA for 6 years? It depends on what your goals are. Depends on what you want to do. It's a big investment. It's a investment of a lot of time, a lot of money. So it depends on what you want to do. It depends on what your goals are, and I think your personality type as well. There are a lot of attorneys who hate it. They just hate working as an attorney. I mean, I would say do your research. Do a lot of research. Back when I was getting ready to go, we didn't have social media like we have it today. Um, where you could just look up anything and get answers to questions and hear multiple people's opinion on stuff. So I would say I should make myself bigger. I would say do your research, look around, ask questions, try and speak to people who are doing what you think you want to do. A lot of the times you think you want to do something and then you start doing it and you're like, oh crap, what have I signed up for? Because this sucks. Um, and you have to pivot to something else. So, depending on your personality type, maybe it could be something good for you. Depending on your goals, and like where you are in life, do you have a family? How many commitments do you have? What are your responsibilities? All of that is going to factor into whether or not that would be a good decision for you. So I would say look up a lot of resources, check out a lot of the resources about attorneys who no longer practice or who no longer want to practice. Find out the reasons why. Um, this is not a super duper glamorous career for a lot of people. It's not a very super glamorous career. There's a reason that, you know, attorneys are very high in the rankings of people who have alcoholism and a lot of substance abuse. So I think that definitely says something about the career. But thanks for that question. That's a good question. Will we get in if they get smaller courtrooms? Well, there's going to be, there are no press passes because I already checked this. There are no press passes. It is a first come, first serve, other than the people who are, I guess, contracted to do the video. So the Law and Crime or who had it last time? Tallahassee Democrat, I think it was. Other than that, it's first come, first serve. So, uh, you know, I really don't think that I want to be camping out there just to get a seat. But, we'll see. We'll see. We'll go with the flow. Maya says, no, I'm all the way in California. Oh, you're far. I'd love to go, but can't take the time. I just want a motion for summary judgment. So no trial in September. Congratulations, you guys. Congratulations, Maya. That's amazing. A motion for summary judgment is a motion that a party puts on, giving all the facts of the case. So it often happens after discovery, or once the parties have discovery, they use the evidence that was provided in discovery to support their motion for summary judgment, that there is no way a finder of fact could see the evidence in. It depends on who's making the motion, but basically she won her case, so she doesn't need to have a trial now. So that's amazing. I probably didn't explain that very well, but yeah, you're true. You're right. A lot of people do law school as a second career. Um, I don't even think that 20. How old were you again? 28, 26? I don't even think that that's that late, but I'm much older now, so that seems very young to me still. Um, yeah, second career. And actually, a lot of people do second careers, I think, after they've been in a career and they see or maybe have worked with attorneys doing kind of something similar. So, for example, I've seen people who, um, well, let's take CPA. You were a CPA, right? So, a lot of forensic accountants, they might try to go to law school, and they can become an expert in that type of, I don't know, niche, I suppose. Or people who are nurses or in the medical profession, um, they go to law school, and they're then able to either go back to practicing or practice law, but with the specialty doing, med mal, or personal injury, or something like that. They have that knowledge basis, which they add the law to, that gives them kind of an advantage in in what they want to ultimately do. Hmm. Top Cat saying a lot of other YouTube creators are going. Katie, Fancy, Patty, Judy. Hmm. Yes, Tattletales. That's where Charlie was arrested. Little Harbor. You got that right, Maya. I sometimes hate us working as an attorney. No problem, Pythagorean runner. Yeah, Helen S. I think you're right. I think AA Legal Focus does have some videos, old videos from years ago, I think, on becoming a lawyer, or so you want to go to law school or something like that. I would suggest Pythagorean Runner, go to her, Judy's channel, and look up her videos on that topic. I think she does interviews with some individuals on that topic there. Maya says that was really good advice back when I was in law school, which is early aughts. Early what? There were so many people who were there just because they didn't know what else to do after undergrad. Yeah, that does happen quite a bit. Quite a bit. A lot of people don't pass the bar the first time. Tattletales. Yes, that is definitely true. That is very true. And I can't imagine the feeling. I haven't gone through it personally. Thank God I passed both of my bars the very first try. I wasn't playing around. I knew that I needed to do it. Um, it's known, I think, that New York, California, and I feel like Florida was on the list, but I'm not sure anymore. At the time when I was taking it, um, are the hardest state bars in the country, right? So New York, California, um, and there are some states where you can have reciprocal admission. So, for example, if you are barred in one state, if you pass the bar exam and you're admitted to the bar of that state, you can waive into another state. So, for example, I have my New York bar admission. I would be able to waive into Delaware. I think I didn't bother doing it because I didn't need to. Um, but there's a lot of states that have some sort of reciprocal agreement. New York does not. Florida does not. So I had to take both bar exams, and thankfully I passed both of them on the first try. If I didn't, I don't know if I would even bother the second time, to be perfectly honest with you. Are there any cases you're invested in as much as the Dan Markel case? Oh, there's something about this case, isn't there, you guys? There really is something about this case. It's just like a Shakespearean drama with all the different pieces and niches and puzzle pieces, right? That makes it so intriguing to so many people. I don't think I found a case quite like that. There's other cases that I'm interested in, and I want to hear what cases you guys are interested in as well, because I'm curious. At some point, this is going to end, right? We're hoping for justice. We're hoping for a resolution. We are hoping that, everybody involved is brought to justice, is tried, is arrested. So at some point, we don't want to see this go on ad infinitum, right? The Markels deserve better. So we're going to have to move on to some other cases. And I want to know, what other cases are you guys interested in? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know at any time, either now or replay crew. You can let me know in the comments. Let me know, because, everybody's talking about this right now. It's a hot commodity with the trial coming up, and with Wendy and Harvey still at large, still unindicted. We don't know what's going to happen with them, but at some point, we're going to have to move on, right? I think so. Hi, Monique Don. Oops. Late to your live. No problem. How can Dan Rashbaum argue flight to Vietnam was vacation when she only purchased tickets right after Charlie's conviction? Monique Don, he hasn't even said that it was a vacation. He has not said it's a vacation. We went through the entire motion. Hold on. We went through the entire motion where he's arguing that there could be independent reasons for flight, and that those independent reasons that exist break the second and third links of the chain of consciousness of guilt. He never listed any independent reasons. He could have easily said they were going on vacation. He didn't. So I don't know. I'm gonna be right there at that hearing. Not right there, but I'll be watching it and seeing what is argued. Because if you don't even put the basis, the facts to support your motion in the motion itself, then what's the purpose? The Morphew case. Husband allegedly killed wife on Mother's Day. Morphew case in Colorado. Is that not completed though? Suzanne Morphew. Didn't he have daughters or something? And something with the daughters. They're on the father's side. The name rings a bell. Oh, Sarah Boone, child. This case, and I hesitate to cover it because I've been watching the hearings where she's representing herself finally the past 2 weeks or whatever. And I don't know if I'm going to have the will to sit through all of them. I really want to try live streaming something, but I just don't know if I can do Sarah Boone case, because the way she's going on and the way that I believe she is going to try and have delay tactics, delay. I just think that it's going to go on and on and on. And I don't know if I'm going to be there for it. I don't know if I can commit the time for all of her antics. And there's going to be a lot of antics. Oh my gosh. I was just watching the hearing, the most recent hearing yesterday of hers. And I am just in awe of the judge and the patience that judge is having with her. I don't know. I will be following the case, but I don't know if I'll be following the case on my YouTube channel just because I don't know if I can. Ooh, the Koberger case. Maybe once it starts, it's been going on for, has it been 2 years yet? It's been a while now. And a lot has been going on with it. I kind of feel like I'm a little late to start with the Koberger case just because there's all this back history of trials and hearings, and I haven't been following it the whole time, so I'm not sure if I can catch up with that. Yes, look, this seems to be the general consensus. Nothing is as gripping as this case. Blue says, I can't get enough of the Adelsons. There's just something about this. This is wild. This is wild. All right, guys. Maya, yes, Sarah Boone is in Florida. I think she's in, is she in Orange County? Yes, because she kept saying Orange. So she's in Orange County, which is where Orlando is, Central Florida. So yeah. Morphew case is still open. The prosecution dropped charges. Oh, because the judge gutted their witness list as sanction. Huh. Oh, interesting. Okay. Boone is very adolescent, isn't she? She cracks me up. Her voice. She's just like, she just seems like, I don't know, the figurative Karen. Like, I want all these accommodations, and I don't know what other pro se litigants have had in the past, Mr. Warden, but can you give me a list of all the accommodations that all your pro se litigants have had, all your pro se inmates have had in the past, please? I'd like that by 2 p.m., and I'd like it brought to my cell. Thank you. She trips me up. She really does trip me up. Oh my gosh. Yes. Maya says she's represented people like Boone back when she was a court appointed attorney. Look, she went through like 8 attorneys. They couldn't handle her either. Just the antics. My goodness. After, at some point, you just say, look at the common denominator. All of these attorneys, professional people, they can't be the crazy ones. Look at the common denominator. All right, you guys, I have to get out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for office hours. I appreciate this. I hope to make this a more regular thing because this was fun. Oh, yes. See, you guys keep coming with the cases. Corey Richens. That's another crazy one. That's another crazy one. You're not throwing your posh life away just because Princess Wendy is unhappy. It's incredible. I think that's why it's fascinating. There's so many reasons why it's fascinating. I got her voice, Monique Dawn. Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Can I have your name again? Can you spell it one more time? I'm mocking Sarah Boone, you guys. Another layer of petulance. All right, you guys. Have a good weekend. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for keeping me company. I appreciate you. It is what it is. We will see. Until next time, take care of yourselves. All right? Peace.